Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here once again to do another One Piece chapter review. Chapter 1177, Furious. This chapter is named Furious. This one follows the events of the last one, where Frankie got an upgrade thanks to Vegapunk or Lilith via her super Vega Cola. Was able to show it off by defeating one of the dream monsters, which also teaming up with Jinbei, who was freeing that monster who had ate Zeus, Nami's Cloud, as it was attempting to put out the fires that were burning the library, while Sanji ended up doing a massive kick to the racist towards Fishman, killing him. Meanwhile, Zoro and the others were still trying to battle the giants, if you will. But Dory and Broggy gained enough conscience to decide to take themselves out rather than kill Elder Zhao and disgrace themselves. And so they beheaded themselves, but then as a result, they flip-turned, and now they're back to normal, and this time back on the good guys' side, as Zoro and the other giants did now realize that they just need to kill the dummy reverse giants in order to revert them back. So it ended with them ready to go to try and kill their friends, basically, in order to save them, if you will. How that will play out, who knows? Let's see. So, yeah, that is basically the summary of the chapter. Though before we begin with that, we do have, of course, a cover story, if you will, where we've got, well, not cover story, a One Piece cover basic page, where we've got a reader request from Robin planting flowers in a bed dug up by moles by Mrs. Fuji, in which we see Robin helping a bunch of moles that look like miners, if you will, trying to planting plants. It's a nice little one of Robin. You see with her, I think her devil fruit is supposed to be like a flower, some sort of flower fruit or something. So it's nice that she's helping these little moles. I can see her doing this, to be honest, just being helpful and all that stuff. It's like she's doing it outside her cottage, basically. So it's a nice little chapter. Anyway, let's see. Anyway, as I've gone on about this, on to the actual chapter. It sort of begins at the western village of Elbaf, where you've got, giants trying to take the kids away, where Colin wants to see the giant warrior pirates in actions, but the giants say it's too dangerous, and you've got you're not allowed to really watch this. Heck, you see one of the other giant kids. I think Omi's grandson, maybe. I think. Let's see, sparkling eyes, because they want to see like the giant warrior pirates in action. Colin is just smiling. The dummy reverse giants telling their captains to come back and take the strength of regenerative bodies, talking about how they feel liberated and chained by its power, if you will. So yeah, as there's a lot more of them that have been dummy reversed than I have been led to believe. One of them, ends up stabbing Captain Dory for the arm, damaging him, if you will. Sort of like the trident sort of goes through, breaking the shield and going through the arm, in a sort of way symbolizing that both as one loses Dory and Broggy share, as one loses an arm, so does another, if you will. But yeah. But I believe Dory goes like, look at despite this concern some of the regular giants say, Dory says, look at how you submit to a new master, so much for the pride of the giant pirates. With like now injured arm for Dory and Broggy, as well as Julian and Stusen, go like, you empty-headed fools, you should be ashamed of yourselves, as they're now charging in. But we cut to like Chopper's group, if you will, where Kashi is trying to tell these a few dummy-verse giants who have that have stayed behind, so trying to plead them not to fight as they were comrades, sorry. And apparently their names are DDT and Rhodes, as I think one of them appears to be the chef that helped cook Luffy's meals while he was on the Elbaf ship. But with them mocking him as like, you can attack us, is that your excuse? And they're trying to get Kashi to join their side. But but they're mocking him, saying they couldn't even do it if they wanted to. Let's see, with Chopper panicking, saying like, "Ah, I thought they went away," thinking that all the W-verse giant monsters must have already, disappeared. But with I believe Gaban saying, "Be careful, Kashi. If you get surrounded, you'll be turned into a demon too," reminding him of the consequences. With Chopper saying, "Please, Kashi, you gotta fight." With him saying, "I can't. We've been friends for decades." Can't really force himself to fight them, and this is causing a bit of problems as they are attacking him. Let's see, but we cut back to like let's see, Dory and Broggy, or at least Broggy at the moment, with Broggy telling the Domiverse giant in front of him called Gantatino, saying that we've known each other for like century, for like over a century, for ages basically, but he's got something he wants to say to him, where like whenever he took asked for a bite of his food, he basically took half, and he uses that anger to kill him. Let's see, as you hear him saying, "Sorry, Captain," but basically Broggy is using that as an excuse to like go all out. And then we see Hadruden doing a giant punch, if you will, the Gungia thing, maybe the similar move he might have used against Machiver, so Doflamingo's subordinate. And then Dory uses Ikaku Sovereignty, which I believe the same move Big Mom often uses on another giant. And Stusen, I think, am I saying his name right? Oh, let me just check. I'm going to check that I've said the name right. Let's see. Yeah, Stanson, perhaps. I think that's the correct one. The correct term. All right, there we go. Let's see. He uses a move called Giant Trauma, also obliterating a giant. And then we, of course, cut to Zoro as he uses the free store style Red Ogre Mega Rage, which makes me wonder if he has a Blue Ogre attack as well. But basically he slices up the head and all that stuff, wiping out this like giant or reversing them. Let's see, with them shouting, "Don't worry, you guys won't die from this." With Elder Giles saying, terrifically fatal stuff, but comments that they do seem to be a little too eager to do this. Well, at the very least, I'd say Broggy is, given that he wanted to take out the giant that ate half his food. But yeah. But anyway, we cut to like Choppers again, where Kashi is holding off against two of the dummy reverse giants, but he can't fight back. Scupper Gaban is about to fight him, and then let's see, Chopper. Let's see, picks out a rumble and goes to Monster Point, telling him to knock it off, calling the giant a jerk. The chef giant goes like, "Gaha, that doesn't hurt. It doesn't even." But as soon as he does it, the shadow demon that is possessing him comes out of his back, and then he starts to flip and reverts to his normal self. With Chopper and everyone's shocked that he's returned back to normal, wondering like, why on earth did this happen? As Chopper did not use anything like Conqueror's Haki or even a slap was intended to kill. So yeah, causing a bit of confusion. Anyway, we cut to like by the Owl Library, where Zeus is eating black balls, and it's revealed that killing him has been basically cut into pieces, with his head being carried, Gritzy being carried, if you will, as he's cursing the Straw Hat, saying, "Do you know what kind of hell awaits for you who defy us gods, if you will." With him continue to be a racist towards fishmen. With Jimba just saying, "All you can do is bark when you're just ahead, if you will," and it seems like they've and Frankie, you have commenting saying, "If we put them in boxes or something, that should keep them really separate," as he's tying up Killingham's body, if you will. With Zeus thanking more of the black balls, if you will. With Sanji saying, "Supposedly there's a way to finish them off," Bernal as he's talking, and he says, "So these are the knights who protect the Holy Land." With Frankie thinking that they've got too strong Sanji, since Luffy's now an emperor, though ironically enough, the Yonko crew did get their butts whooped by the minus Frankie and Sanji before, got their butts whipped by the Guards Knights, so I'm not sure they can brag too much. With Sanji saying, yeah, I like to believe that, but sickening to think that Elbaf brought to its knees by this scum. So, but yeah. So he's calling the Guards Knights scum, partly because of probably the racism, but also probably because he thinks lowly of the world nobles as well. With Killingham saying that, that's right, maggots, keep overlooking us. With Sanji saying, be careful, there's one still unarmed. As Nami is continuing to feed Zeus. Let's see. So she's saying that she wants to make sure you keep making sure that he keeps feeding him so that he will go up and keep dropping rain on that fire, which Zeus is more than happy to agree to. And then we sort of cut to a like Loki and Luffy arriving with Luffy laughing, saying hello to Nami, Sanji, Frankie, and Jinbei, saying that he's arrived. But we then get this hold on, let me just get the page. Here we go. On. And we get this sort of oh, damn it, I've cast my phone. Then we get this sort of like funny moment where, let's see, but first Jinbei is like, it's enormous, like a Neptunian. Sanji's going like, wait, is that Loki? Frankie saying, what are you guys, buds? Thinking that's cool that Luffy's doing it. With Luffy going like, right, he's so huge, it's ridiculous. With Nami shouting, you're all idiots, which shocks Luffy and even Loki. And let's see, the Skrill Ragni, I believe. With Nami going like, there you go, making friends. We're friends with weirdos again. Annoyed with his angry face. Saying, yes, he's nice, he's taking out the monsters, but he's causing fires and making more problems. Saying, if you help the enemy to burn down Elbaf, what's the point of it? And getting a clue, which completely shocking Luffy and Loki. And Luffy, as we see from the image I'm sharing, looks all sort of sad and disappointed. And the Skrill's going like, there. And then he gets mad and shouts, I got yelled at because of you, Loki. So yeah, Luffy is basically taking out his anger at Loki for being scolded, so which is arguably the funniest thing ever, and at least this is probably the funniest thing in the arc I can think of right now. And Loki getting mad, saying, "I'm destroying the people who are harming Elbaf. Why should I be scolded by your crewmate?" So he blasts him with a lightning breath, and Luffy does a sort of pose of when I think Eno once struck him, and maybe I think when Boa Hancock tried to use Kamehameha on him, but it has no effect. And he's like, "Oh, that's just lightning." With Loki going like in a shocked expression, saying, "Why doesn't it work on you?" And then he just said, "If it did, I would have whooped your butt." No, granted, I'm surprised Luffy didn't bring up the fact that he's basically rubber. So yeah. So then Luffy looks away, and then we are cutting to like Brook's branch, with him now pleading with Usopp, who has somehow managed to arrive so fast here. Since the last we saw him, he was with like Nami's group, but he's telling him to run away and saying he only did this for personal reasons, and saying that she's too dangerous. Referring to Imu, though granted as Pritzy, though it's actually probably Prince Shuri, which I think Imu's still holding the. I think Imu might have shot the gun that he was using earlier against Doi. I can't tell from the image, but I think Imu's clearly holding some sort of weapon. But Brog seems to be stabbed by a sword. And then we get this sort of like let me just find it. Oh yeah, here we go. Then we get like this speech from Usopp saying, "You expect me to run and leave a friend behind, Brook?" Saying a real warrior doesn't run away, with Brock calling Usopp's name. He's saying that he's been dreaming of this place for years, and he's not going to humiliate himself by let's see, running away, if you will. And he's actually too furious. It's talking to Brock, saying that, "You see, Brock, these guys are disrespecting Elbaf, sneaking around and kidnapping children." Let's see. saying you attack the kingdom with monsters rather than using your own strength, taking over the minds of proud noble warriors and forcing them to kill each other, calling them scumbags and cheap and cowardly, saying shame on you, calling their plan scummy and all that, saying shame on you. But the Emu Gunko goes to attack Usopp. Let's see, Brook cries out Usopp's name. Let's see, then Emu does something, lifts up the hand and seems to do some sort of damage towards Brook with some sort of, like, maybe some pulse attack, if I had to guess. Or maybe, I'm not really sure on that part. But Usopp gets a sniper attack rifle, his massive slingshot, to attack them, saying Elbaf is a nation of warriors that have lived by their swords and shields in their very lives. And Usopp declares, if you want to rule over them, at least have the pride to fight them head on, you cowards. And Emu says, one who rules does not sully their hands with such tawdry matters. And Usopp using a move called Skull Blast Grass, but Emu comes close as Emu declares fire, seemingly either blocking the attack or making the impact go right at Usopp, which I assume it's his attack doing it. And Usopp and both Brook are knocked out from the fight as the Emu Gunko regenerates from this. And we see Luffy and Loki arriving at the scene. Luffy looks shocked, with Loki saying, this is the one, as Luffy cries out to Usopp and Brock. As Loki continues saying, the source of the haki that reached the underworld. Emu looks on, with Luffy looking at his beaten up comrade, telling Loki that he's now pissed. With Loki saying forgiveness was never an option. And the Emu Gonko says, thou can't obey or die. Nika Niederhog. This battle will divide the world. As he I think he's implying that their fight is either that their fight against him is going to split the world, or he plans to try and make the two fight each other and have that split the world, and that sort of ends the chapter. Anyway, I suppose I should give my thoughts on the chapter. I will admit, I do like how excited that Colin is about, getting to see the giant warrior pirates in action. And it's like, this is what he's always dreamed of. He's always admired the warriors of Elbaf, and now he wants to see it in action. Unfortunately for him, the giants, being responsible parents and adult guardians, if you will, saying, no, you cannot. You cannot see this. You need to get inside. It's safe. But Colin just cannot help but admire it. And you see even some of the other giant kids, sparkling eyes, seeing just how cool the warriors are. Which makes me to think that despite the giant, some of these kids of Elbaf being like not wanting to do violence, at the very least, if they see a little bit of the giant pirates in action, who knows? Maybe they might start to like have a more newfound respect for the warrior ways of Elbaf. Though, granted, perhaps maybe not be maybe still be more ideally for peaceful measures, but more of like willing to be in the action now and then when they grow up. I'm not sure. That could be the direction they're going. I am not entirely sure, but who knows? Now, I will admit, I do like how Dory gets injured with his arm, and it sort of mirrors the same arm that Broggy got blown off. Let's see, so it sort of symbolizes that the two giants who in many ways share the same fate, battling to the death for such 100 years, they both got dummy reversed, and now they both got an arm injured, so it's a nice sort of way of them matching. Granted, Dory seems to still have his full arm at the very least, but something tells me that the wound that was inflicted will probably be too damaged that it will probably never be able to use it properly again, if I had to guess. So I think that's the sort of route they're going with it. So, but yeah. No, but yeah. Anyway, I will admit, I do like seeing the Giants sort of get a bit of action, at least giving a moment for Julian and Stanson, if you will. Dory and Broggy always gotten plenty of moments, I think, but I do like how Broggy is like, hey, to this one crewmate that he's eager to kill, if you will. Let's see if he's going to kill to save. This is like using the excuse of him eating half his food whenever he asks for a bite as a way of like taking sort of revenge, using the opportunity to take some revenge that he's always wanted to do, but probably restrained himself from doing just because. Let's see, he could possibly kill him, and you see him killing him and all that stuff. So yeah, I do see. So yeah, I do like seeing the giants doing their attacks. Let's see, Hadrian using, I think, the same move he used against Doflamingo's subordinate. Dora using, let's see, the same move Big Mom uses. And let's see, I think Stanson using his first attack. Well, that's all cool. Heck, even Zoro just doing another sword strike. Though I will admit, I would probably prefer it if Zoro actually got a more significant opponent than just dummy reverse giants, if you will. At the very least, I wish he had fought Dorian Broggy for a little bit longer, if you will. But let's see, I don't know, but yeah. But anyway, nice to see them all getting moves, but I will admit, while this action was cool, I can't help but feel like we got cheated out of like Sanji, Jinbei, and Frankie teaming up, taking down Dream Monsters as well as killing him. And it's like he got defeated off screen. Now, granted, it also doesn't help that you've got a few depending on the translations, talking about like how easy it is to defeat these Gods Knights, if you will, but which has made some people lose the hype of the Gods Knights. Now, granted, I think the Viz translation seems to imply that let's see, that these guys are a bit tough, and to be fair, they are. They did manage to put Elbaf to its knees before like Loki and the monster trio arrived, if you will. So let's see, the Gods Knights are no joke, and heck, we even seen them beat the members of the Straw Hats that were up there, who are like Yonko officers and commanders, if you will. Particularly Gunko taking on like half the Straw Hats. Let's see, Saint Summers defeating Nico, Robin, and Sol, and killing him. Let's see, decimating the Elbaf forces, if you will. Well, that's all well and done, but the way I think some of the translations might have implied is that, let's see, with Frankie going like, we're Yonko crew, we should be strong, and our captain is an emperor. Let's see, implies that the Gods Knights are perhaps weaker than the Yonko crew, when beforehand we've seen that they are actually, let's see, the Gods Knights seem to be quite easily able to defeat a Yonko crew, minus perhaps the Yonko himself, and arguably their top Yonko commanders. So, granted, the way granted, let's see, while killing him seems to be beheaded and dismembered and split to pieces, and I do like that the Straw Hats are doing that, despite the alternative way of taking them out. But I do like how, even though killing him seems like he's out of the fight, he is saying that you, Retzi, underestimate us at your power, which I'm hoping implies that, let's see, while they might appear to be the Gods Knights might appear to be defeated now, they're going to have a bit of a comeback, which I do hope so, because I am hoping fully. Even though I think Zoro fighting Dorian Broggy is no longer going to happen at the very least, I am hoping that killing him and Summers do come back to fight, let's see, some of the Straw Hats. Now, granted, killing him fighting Sanji would probably be pointless now, since Sanji, along with Frankie and Jinbei, already beat him off screen. So I'm hoping maybe, and let's see, so I'm hoping perhaps maybe killing him has a bit of a swap against, maybe instead of like Sanji's group, he goes up against maybe let's see, Usopp or something, or some of the other Straw Hats. And let's see, and Summers goes up against, I'd say probably Sanji, who's probably more thematically fitting, maybe even have Robin show up. I'm still hoping for those matchups and hoping that at least Mort was correct on that regard. But we'll have to wait and see in that, let's see, thing. Let's see. But I do like how Nami is like at the very least trying to feed Zeus to take out the fires. That is her priority. But it looks like she's trying to steal Jinbei's job from Wano, whose fisherman skills Retsu was able to take out the fire there. But yeah. But anyway, a surprise thing to see with this chapter is basically Chopper, which at first started with like two Domi reverse giants, Retsu showing up where Chopper's group, who of course him panicking like, I thought they were gone. And unfortunately for him, Kashi just cannot bring himself to kill his friends. Now, granted, to be fair to him, he doesn't know that killing them is the only way to reverse the effects, which I'm sure if he did know, let's see, I am pretty certain he would have done it at the very least, unless he was like, couldn't bring himself to do it, kind of like how Choji couldn't do so when he first encountered Asuma and Naruto, if you will, but as Nao Tensei, but yeah. But this allows but as Kashi not being able to fight allows Chopper, which are probably another L for Kashi, but I suppose probably some merits in his character not wanting to fight his friends. But this allows Chopper to go Monster Point and take a bit of a fight himself. But instead of his attack doing any serious damage, it seems to somehow reverse the Domi effects of the giant, which arguably it's nice that Oda is actually giving Chopper some action because unfortunately Chopper of the Straw Hats has been the one that's perhaps suffered the most of not getting action or fights post time skip. The one actual serious opponent that he fought and defeated was Dosen, and that was the beginning of the arc. I mean, the beginning of the pre-time skip. So yeah, I mean, granted, we have seen Chopper go Monster Point a few times. Let's see, against Big Mom, against Queen, but he doesn't actually defeat these opponents. And I think the one time, no, granted, it's been a while since I've last read the chapter. I think you might have seen Monster Point maybe beat someone. I think one of those Yeti Cool brothers, but that was like Frankie in the body, and he lost control. So it's like I can't really count that. No, granted, I'm not sure if Luffy did the finishing touches on that part, but it's been a while since I need to reread Punk Hazard. But yeah. But now it seems like Oda's giving Chopper some action, and it seems like he now seems to have the ability to counter Domi reverse and revert it, if you will, without having the need of hockey or killing. Let's see the Giants, if you will. So, but yeah. But granted, let's see. It seems like Oda's finally giving Chopper some much needed love. Let's see. I wonder if the live action season 2, which was great by the way, has convinced him like, okay, I need to go back and do this now. So yeah, we have that. But yeah. Now, granted, why Chopper can do this leads to all kinds of theories. Some believing that it's an ability that the human fruit has of able to turn someone back to like what they were. Though, granted, they're giants rather than humans. But hey, this is like some are theorizing that Chopper actually has the mythical zone fruit, the Forest God, which was mentioned in the Harley text, and people have been theorizing this for a long time, partly because of why would Blackbeard go to Drum Kingdom? And let's see, even though Chopper wants to talk about they steal my fruit, and Usopp jokes about why would they want your fruit? It seems that it could be very well that Blackbeard pirates did go to Drum Kingdom to find Chopper's fruit, but they couldn't. And so they left and assumed that it's not there. But it seems like if that's the case, this is perhaps building off of something that has somewhat been hinted at for a while now. And the Harley text do mention that the Forest Guard seems to scare or defeat demons or something. I can't remember the exact text, but it seems to repel demons. So if that's the case, Chopper may have one of the god fruits that can counter Emu, if you will, which probably will cause a bit of mixed reactions. For those who don't like Chopper and think it's him too much of a mascot. But frankly, I'm not sure of how much of a retcon you could say, though. I think it's, from what I can tell, it has probably been more built up than Luffy turning out to be the sun god. And that was a bit more last minute compared to like Oda's usual bit of foreshadowing, if you will. But at the very least, if Chopper has the human forest god fruit, at the very least, at least means he's much more important for the probably final part of the story, which I'm all for, and if you will, and maybe that leads to more of a like an advanced awakening, because frankly, let's see, Chopper was like one of the most active fighters in the pre-time skip, heck, arguably before Frankie, Ritzy, and Robin and Brooke came along. He was always the straw hat that seemed to be the most in the action, sometimes more than Ritzy, besides Luffy, Sora, and Sanji. Heck, I think even Chopper got some fights, not Sanji didn't. So who knows? But yeah. But Chopper, hopefully, if I don't know, owners were revealing that, okay, this is Chopper's Devil Fruit has a special ability that means that against the Dummy Reverse, it means that he's going to get much more in the action down the line. Let's see. Granted, we know that Dark Q, Blackbeard's member of the pirate crew, is likely to be Chopper's final opponent. But it would be nice if he gets another one, even if it's more Dummy Reverse Giants, though. Who knows? Perhaps maybe Chopper will join Usopp and maybe take on killing him if he comes back. At least I'm hoping so, but let's see. Who knows? It would be nice just to see the Straw Hats working together. But yeah. So we do have that. But anyway, one highlight I will admit I enjoy, which is a very perfect for me comedic moment, is basically Luffy coming up to see his crewmates all excited, but then Nami gets mad and saying, "You idiots! Luffy, you befriended another weirdo again!" Let's see, and he's destroying the island. Yes, he's helping defeat the monsters, but he's destroying the island. And it's like, don't Ritzy do the point, and I will admit, this panel here is probably the funniest in the arc with like Luffy's squirrel Loki's squirrel Ragnar trying to cheer up Luffy, but he's like, "Hey, I got told off because of you, Loki." It's kind of like how you've got siblings or friends in a bit of an argument saying like, "I got in trouble because of you." So it's that kind of like levels of funny, and Loki's I love how Loki seems to be completely even shocked by Nami's anger, and then eventually takes it out on Luffy, saying, "I don't need to be scolded. I'm trying to save Elbaf here." But yeah, it is like hilarious. Granted, some are seeing this as maybe a sign that Loki will join the crew because he's doing some Straw Hat antics of being shocked by Nami's anger. But no, I think it's just to have some comedic moment and to lead to this moment of Loki zapping Luffy with lightning, which of course is always the funniest, like, lightning doesn't work, and then Loki just being shocked by that. Granted, it's not like some NO face, but it's still kind of funny, even if it's only just like in a small panel saying, "Why does it work on you?" But Luffy's like, well, not really telling it it's rubber, but saying like, "If it did, I would whoop you." So yeah, it's kind of funny, like Loki's lightning attacks doesn't have no effect on Luffy. Which makes me wonder if Loki does ever get Dummy Reverse. At the very least, Luffy has one advantage of that: lightning attacks will not work on him, at the very least. So yeah, Sun God form or not, if you will. But anyway, I think one thing that I am glad that is finally being covered is Usopp. Granted, I will admit there's a bit of a criticism of like how far he was able to go from like Nami's group to like here. I don't know if he's speed or run. I mean, Usopp is known to be a quite fast runner due to his cowardness, but who knows? But I think it's more of a minor nitpick. Though, granted, hopefully it won't go too much of Game of Thrones vibe of like travel methods, but who knows? I mean, something that the anime might try and add a scene of Usopp heading there or not, but yeah. But that might be for the best at the very least, because that might get some people questioning. Though, granted, luckily, it's the despite Usopp's questionable method of speed travel, he's at least he's showing up and then expressing his thoughts and anger at Imu, furious that he would use such cowardly tactics. I think Salmon pointed out in Mr. Mojo's streams that Usopp and Nami technically use Tama's dumplings to turn Smile Fruit users to their side. So technically, the God's Knights are doing a similar thing here with the dummy reverse, though. Though granted, I do like how, at the very least, that part might be a bit hypocritical, but I do like how Usopp is just talking about kidnapping children, being cowardly, and all that stuff. I do like that this speech ends up seemingly drawing Imu's attention to talk about how a leader should not sully his hands on the how he sully his hands when he does not need to, sort of like emphasizing sort of some of Imu's beliefs that since he views himself as king of the world, him going down to get his hands dirty is sort of beneath him and like going into the action. So makes sense that he would not directly get involved unless he deemed the opponent serious enough, which was the case with like Roxy Sebek. And of course, here in Elbaf, where granted indirectly, if you will, because it's like Marie your eyes on fire. I need to get these giants on our side and all that stuff. So I do like that bit of thing. So yeah. And well, the speech is not, I'd say, one of the top 5, and I think doesn't, not like a top 5 Usopp moment. I still think it's impressive that he attempts to try and attack Imu with this powerful star attack. But Imu, of course, uses whatever this sort of like ability with his hands to like come close and then block and seem to cause a massive explosion, if you will. So yeah, arguably great moment, and people, and it's like, it's finally giving Usopp some much needed attention, which everyone thought, like, since Usopp's talked so much about wanting to come here, which he does talk about. I do like how he seems to be so furious that he doesn't that he's ignoring whatever his cowardly thoughts are because he admires Elbaf so much, and these God's Knights are tarnishing it right now. But I do like this moment and him trying to fight Imu, if you will. But I am hoping that this is just more of a setup of him to get a more larger role. Yes, at the moment, everyone thought he would be the main, the second main character after Luffy in this arc, but when that turned out to not be the case, you got many people being disappointed and some even mocking Usopp fans for wishing it. But heck, it seems Oda's finally giving Usopp his time to shine. Well, granted, I'm hoping that this isn't the only thing he does, and he comes back later, either to help, I don't know, Luffy, Brook, or someone out. Maybe even dealing with the Gunko situation, or even maybe taking on someone like killing him. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see what Oda wants to do with the matches. Though, but yeah. Let's see. Now, I do like how Brook shows concern for Usopp, saying, let's see, don't come here. I only came here for my own personal reasons, but still. But yeah. But anyway, I do like how we finally get to see Luffy meeting Imu, which is something that fans have been waiting for ages. Granted, not necessarily Imu in the flesh in person at the moment because he's possessing Gunko, but it's enough to see that Imu staring at basically meeting his two enemies face to face from what probably he fought against 800 years ago with Joy Boy and possibly the war god Elbaf, if you will. But we'll have to wait and see on that part, or at least the previous Ninhog Devil Fruit user. But I do like how Luffy is just breathlessly shocked and angry that his crewmates have been harmed. So it's hopefully showing a more serious side to Luffy's Gear 5 for some people, because we remark about it being a bit of a joke. We're making it too goofy to actually take a fight seriously anymore. But with the way his crew's been harmed, you can tell Luffy's getting all serious. I do like how Loki knows, okay, this is the hockey from the sense down in the underworld, and thinking that mercy was never an option, if you will. I do like how both of them are willing to fight, but it's Imu that says the most interesting line about their clash. Let's see, will divide the world. So I think many people thinking that this is Imu who, for saying that even if he fights these two, it's going to cause the world to split, basically, if you will. But Granted, it could be possible that Emu is also talking about trying to dummy reverse one or the other and having them fight each other, and causing maybe like a bit of a fight that will split the world itself. Regardless of what's happened, Luffy has finally met Emu, and even if indirectly. Granted, I don't think he's going to learn the full extent of who Emu is until later down the line, either probably from the Laugh Tale arc or if he encounters the revolutionary armies. But nevertheless, it looks like he's ready to fight Emu, if you will, even if it's Emu and Gunko's body. And let's see, Loki, of course, is there as well, and we'll have to wait and see what Emu's trying to do. Is he going to get them? Is he going to fight them both? Is he going to get them fight each other or something else? But nevertheless, this has been a fight in the age. This has been a meeting for the ages, and hopefully, Oda can deliver. But yeah, granted, let's see if Luffy's fighting Emu now. This does make some wonder if perhaps maybe Emu's not the final villain and it's Blackbeard. But regardless if that's the case, I would be satisfied. Let's see. I'm fine with either as like the final villain, Blackbeard or Emu, because they both bring their own sort of appeal, I guess, as villains for like this final saga. But yeah, overall, I think I'll give this chapter a 9 out of 10. Let's see. For the most part, I enjoyed it. Seeing Zoro and the Giants in action, though I do wish that the guards killing him's defeat was not done off screen, unless, who knows, perhaps he's come back for more later. Let's see, Usopp's time jump being a bit, traveling distance fingers are being a bit of a stretch, but nevertheless, he got like a finally beginning to get like a cool moment at the very least, and hopefully more for this arc. Luffy and Loki getting scolded by Nami and then arguing with each other about it. And of course, Luffy and Loki finally meeting Emu. Granted, Emu possessing Gunko's body, but nevertheless, it's a pretty good chapter. I enjoyed it. I think for the most part, my criticisms are more nitpicky compared to the last two, but yeah, at least it seems like this meeting has long been due. So yeah. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I hope for those who end up listening enjoyed what I had to say. And I'll see you next time when I review the next chapter, whenever that happens. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you, everyone, and goodbye.